Smooth lap for Vocal. I think there's probably some more time to find, but sometimes smooth is fast. Let's see what he's got. It's a 134.821. I think he's got more than that.
Yep.
And I'm sure he'll go for some here as well. Craig Coker in the Tesla Model 3 flying down the front straightaway without a sound.
Yeah, just whisper quiet.
Dustin Williams in the background in that Valvoline M2 at a 137.472. That puts him on the podium for now until Mark Kilgore drops him down the order. So Dustin Williams has got to find some speed here if he wants a trophy.
Yeah, Kilgore running quicker than he ran in that earlier qualifying session this morning. And there's a little drop right there. Again, by Craig Coker. But that was a nice lap by Kilgore. Like I said, quicker than he went in the cool of this morning.
With a 36.315 at P3, Mark Kilgore in the M4. Just in front of him with a 35.666.
It's been almost 6 months since GridLife was last at a racetrack, and that was all the way out on the West Coast in Northern California. The 2025 season marks a new era for GridLife, one that embraces new partnerships, a revised schedule, and even new racing categories. But as we have for the last few seasons, we'll kick off the year with a trip to the sandy Southeast. Welcome to Kershaw, South Carolina. Welcome to Carolina Motorsports Park, and welcome to GridLife.
It's the start of the 2025 season with GridLife. And while last year was a huge learning curve, this year I have fewer excuses and higher expectations. Most importantly, I've made a number of changes to the car to make it more competitive in StreetGT and built to a greater extent of the class rules. There were two main areas to address for this year, one being grip and tire size, and the other being power. For the suspension, I've changed to the Bimmerworld GTMore Suspension setup, which utilizes MCS two-way remote dampers and custom SPL control arms. This allows me to run the largest wheels that will fit with the car, which are now 19 by 11.5 inch square wheels, front and rear. I've partnered with Wush Bespoke, who have provided the custom sizes in two wheel sets, one in black and one in gold. The plan for this year is that the black set will be my practice set and will take most of the heat cycles on the tires, and the gold set will be my competition set that will have fewer heat cycles and will be used in the prime morning sessions and podium sprint. For tires, I've switched to the new Vitour P1 200 treadwear tires that are now allowed in GridLife for this year. While these tires are still fairly new here in the US, so far they are showing they are just as fast, if not faster, than the current top 200 treadwear tires like the AO52s, Nankang CRS V2s, and the Bridgestone RE71 RSs, which I ran last year. With these new Vitours, I'm expecting maybe at least a half a second gain or more just from going to this better compound. On the power side, I've maxed out what I can do now, which includes a custom E85 tune on stock turbos. Chris at Motiv Motorsport tuned the car, and I have two maps, a lower boost map 1 and a max boost map 2. It's crazy, on map 2 the car makes over 600 wheel horsepower, which should definitely help lower my times versus the 505 wheel horsepower I was making last year. With the car prepped and ready, let's talk about the first event of the year at Carolina. GridLife has changed the format for the events this year, going to a 3-day event weekend for 2025, which means changes for the track battle schedule. Last year we had 2 practice sessions on Friday, and then the first qualifying heat Friday afternoon. Saturday included 2 more qualifying heats for a total of 3 qualifiers to make it into the top 5 for the podium sprint, which occurred on Saturday afternoon. For 2025, we have no practice sessions, and we are now at 7 qualifying heats throughout the weekend to set the top 5 for the podium sprint, with the podium sprint taking place on Sunday afternoon. This means we have both Saturday and Sunday morning sessions for cool, fresh track to set fast laps. And the 7 total sessions definitely changes the strategy for track battle throughout the weekend. For Carolina, with the changes to the car, new suspension, wheels, tires, and trying to finalize the tune, I basically treated the Friday sessions as practice to make sure everything was running well on the car and that it would be ready to go for Saturday and Sunday. My previous best last year was a 141.9, which put me 7th in class, and I was pretty disappointed with how I started out last year. This year, I was expecting at least a 2-second improvement, expecting to be in the 39s, maybe even a 38 if things really went well, and I was also definitely expecting to be in the hunt for a podium. Third session on Friday got rained out, but the other 2 sessions on Friday went smoothly and the car was feeling pretty good other than my high boost map 2 causing some issues with misfires. I took some logs and sent those to Chris at Motiv, but decided just to run map 1 for the weekend as it was running great and I didn't want to have any more issues trying to deal with the car. At the end of day 1, I was sitting 3rd, but honestly looking at the times, you could clearly see that there was a pretty big gap from 2nd to me in 3rd and then the guys behind me 4th and 5th. While I had not put in a representative time on Friday, again, just trying to get the car set up, make sure everything was good, and getting it ready for Saturday and Sunday, I was a little concerned for the fact that I was 4 seconds off of Austin in 2nd, but I had plenty of sessions coming up to be able to start putting down good times and secure my spot in the podium sprint on Sunday. Quite to my surprise, I picked up nearly all 4 seconds that I was looking for in the first session on Saturday. It was great to see that I had gotten into the 39s with a 139.5, but both Austin and Ryan also got faster. I felt comfortable that I was going to make the podium sprint and probably be in the 3rd position, and so with a couple more sessions on Saturday, I tried to see if I could improve my time. By the end of day 2, everyone had gone faster, and the standings pretty much remained the same. Ryan Matthews was in first, Austin in second, myself in third. Drew Vosk had jumped from 6th to 4th and had pushed Connor Gallagher down to 5th and had knocked Ben out at 6th. Surprisingly, the Sunday morning session really wasn't great. It was quite cold, it was hard to get heat into the tires, not many people set faster lap times, and in fact, there was no real change in the standings for StreetGT. I remained in third, so I was going to be seated third for the podium sprint, with Ryan and Austin in front of me, and Drew and Connor behind me.
GridLife South Carolina, the first round of 9 of the 2025 GridLife competition season. It has been a thriller so far this weekend. And up next, it's the GridLife Track Battle Podium Sprint. The competition where we finally issue trophies. And all the lap times up to this point have been wiped, Ito. It is just the top 5 from each category and who can go fast in 3 laps. Yeah, so again, if you're not familiar with the Podium Sprint competition, the way that this works is we send out the 5 cars from each category all as a group together. They'll each get 3 laps as a group, and then whichever cars are in the top 3 at the end, that's your podium. So you've got to perform now. It's a little bit different than we ran it last year, where each car would get 2 laps to itself. All 5 cars run as a group for 3 laps, and that's it. We'll move from... I think StreetGT is up next. Looks like it. Yep.
And here comes Ryan Matthews. He's the current leader. Set a blistering a mid-37 yesterday, which, you know, talking to all the other StreetGT competitors, they didn't think they could touch. But he's not going to get that here. You know, I think we're talking about you have to be below 40s. You have to be into the 39s, maybe high 38s if you want to win this here in these conditions in this podium sprint.
Yeah, fastest time of the weekend so far in StreetGT was Ryan Matthews right here at a 137.6. Unlikely, as you said, to see that in this session.
Yep.
Austin Hurdle ran a 38.5, so you know we could probably see 38s, 39s as you said, but are the conditions such that Austin Hurdle can jump up ahead of Ryan Matthews and defeat him in this new C8?
Yeah, it's a different sport. You know, it's not about seeing what can stick and you've got all these opportunities to do it. Here, you have to get it done in 2 or 3 laps. You have to do the preparation. You have to execute a clean lap that's to the limit of what these conditions are for you. So that's what it's going to come down to here.
A couple different cars in this group. We've got mostly rear-wheel drive cars between the Ryan Matthews machine, the Austin Hurdle car, and a couple of others, but we do have the all-wheel drive Nissan GTR of Connor Gallagher on your screen now. This is, again, a pretty unique entry for this category, but Drew Vosk in that Toyota GR Supra, probably the least power out of this group, I anticipate.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't I'm not sure what his power mods are. I would think that if he's taking advantage of the full bolt-on rules, you're right, he could be still the least amount of power here. Because I know these guys, well, Austin Hurdle with that C8, he actually might be making less power, but he's got that mid-engine dual clutch advantage that really gives the C8 a lot of pace.
So Ryan Matthews takes the green flag in Street GT. He'll be the first one to give us a time in about 2 miles. Big slide there leaving turn 1.
Yeah, I mean, these cars, when it's nice out, they have trouble putting down power. So in these conditions, you really got to be careful. Looks like he took a little bit of curbing there. Car's settled back down. He's on his way to 4.
So you do have a lot of familiarity with the C6 platform here in Street GT. Not a lot of aero on this car. How hard is it in some of those faster corners to keep it stuck?
They're so difficult. They're so difficult to drive. They're really blunt instruments. Kilgore, 39.506. So now he closed the gap. Oh, he goes wide, but he stayed on track. He stayed on track. He did the trick of going late into the brakes into one, and he got the time he wanted. That's a great lap from Mark.
It's going to throw away the third lap, though, but it was enough to get second place. Now, does Gallagher have any way to respond? And Austin Hurdle did get back out there, so he'll have at least a lap.
Yeah, and I hear Gallagher on the throttle here for his last lap, so I think he was cooling down, trying to get it in a good, back into a good condition for that third lap. Let's see what Austin can do. Hopefully it's maybe just a transponder issue and it comes back for him on these next few laps.
Yeah, I didn't see him or hear him go
Whoa,
by.
that's a lot of curbing. Gets real sideways.
And he was telling me before that these cars, they like a little bit of slip, but once you get them past a certain point, they will walk away from you. He kept it under control there, but it's going to cost him some time. And I think this is the only lap he's going to get.
These mid-engine cars, past a certain point of rotation, he got a lot of rotation there. You could see him with the opposite lock there into the entry of 13. You know, these mid-engine cars, once you get past a certain point of rotation, they'll just keep going because that moment of inertia is so short, it's very hard to control once it gets rotated.
Yeah, his time earlier in qualifying was good enough for second, but it's
really
been a sloppy lap. Let's see if he can put it together.
He's really pushing it. That's, you know, this is the thing with podium sprint.
He'll get another lap at least.
He does get another lap. Yeah, I wonder if he got out of sequence or something like that. Let's see if he gets a time displayed. Looks like yes. Okay, so 40.793. He's got to clean it up on this lap. He cannot do that kind of a messy lap to try and beat Ryan Matthews or Mark Kilgore for first or second in StreetGT.
If he gets a little bit better lap, he can get onto the podium, but I think he wants more than that. He was seated second.
Yeah, and here we're looking at Connor Gallagher. He's getting really sideways, trying to stay on power into 14, gets on the brakes, looks okay, so he does hit the apex. Nice job from Connor, gets on power with that four-wheel drive, that turbo V6 on that R35 GTR. Let's see what he can do. This is his last lap.
Gallagher across the stripe. Is it enough to jump up into the middle step of the podium? Down into turn one, it does not look like it. He'll stay third.
No improvement. Okay, now all eyes here on Austin Hurdle. Let's see, he's going to take less curbing here. There's no way he tries that again.
Oh, he took a chunk of it, but it was straighter.
Yep, a little bit less into the braking zone. This is much neater from him. Into the apex of 11. Car tracks out, but he's got that nice mid-engine traction. Brakes it a little bit. Brakes nice and early. Tries to get the car set up for that long 13. Here he comes trying to set up. Stay on power, not move, not drift off track, but stay on power into 14. Gets on the brakes right before the 2. Car dives down, trails off the brakes, rotates for a late apex, and gets on power.
Nicely done.
Yeah, that does look neater. Let's see what he can do.
I think this is a podium run here.
Yeah, it looks like it. It looks really well driven from what we could see.
Checkered flag for Austin Hurdle. Is it enough to go to the podium?
Here it comes. A little bit delayed. No.
They're going to give him another lap. It wasn't enough.
That's interesting. So he must have gotten out of sequence or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's the case, but he'll need that extra lap.
Everybody else, I think, has checkered. Am I right? Yeah.
I think so. I've been told he's been given one extra lap because of a transponder issue.
Okay.
So he'll get to go one more.
I mean, his tires are melted rubber at this point. I know he's on RE71 RSs. Those tires are not endurance tires. They don't like that much heat.
Is he on it still is the question.
That's also the question. Did he see the green flag waving to him so that he could do another lap? Again, that is so much mental work to stay prepared, stay on it for a fourth lap effectively.
Yeah. Can't really tell. Well, he seems like he's still on it.
Looks like he's still on it there. Turns in, but his tires, this is a huge disadvantage for him. If he executes a perfect drive here with the tires in these conditions, maybe he can beat his time, but it's going to be really difficult for him, I think.
Let's see what he's got here. Turn 10. Is he going to take the curb again? No, just nibble
less
it there.
curbing there. Sets up for 11. He looks off the pace now. Yep.
I don't think he's got anything left in it. But, man, I thought that was for sure going to be a better lap. But, you know, maybe that wild drive was his lap to lay it down. And then after that, he just didn't have enough lateral grip from overheating the tires.
So the possibility is that he actually set a very fast time on his first lap. It didn't get recognized by the transponder. But if he's running an AIM in his car or some sort of data system in his car, there are procedures in place that if he can prove he ran a time using his data system, then they might bring that time as an official time. So I don't think StreetGT results are going to be finalized for a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a faster lap time on his first lap, that he's got to show them that data to prove it to them. Yeah. Nonetheless, the times from Ryan Matthews and Mark Kilgore, very impressive for these conditions. Good job to them.
All right, so now we've not
39.940 in the Corvette. Austin Hurdle. And just in front of him with the M4 with a 39.50, I mean. Mark Kilgore in P2. Mark Kilgore. And out front with a 38.889 in front of that 39.50, Ryan Matthews, driving in 2 classes and 2 cars. He was busy this weekend. is very busy in podium sprint as well. Great job, Ryan.
Well, there's no doubt that my expectations were exceeded this weekend. Second place to start 2025 is definitely more than I expected. The car has shown improvement, and I am happy that I set a time that was nearly 3 seconds faster than what I did last year. My goal has been just to be competitive this year, be fighting for podiums, and drive as well as I can. This is a great start to the season, and I definitely hope it continues. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the journey through my weekend with GridLife. Come back and see how the rest of 2025 turns out.